Hi, this is Les-Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. Since Andrew Berry showed up in Berea, I've been saying that the Browns' problems couldn't be solved in just one off-season. He might be telling me I'm wrong. After letting two linebackers go, Christian-Kirksey and joe-schobert, he went out and got a whole bunch of new players. Safety karl-joseph, linebacker bj-goodson, defensive tackle Andrew Billings, as well as jack-conklin, Austin Hooper, in addition to the backup quarterback case-keenum. And the draft is still 6 weeks away. That's not too bad of a start for a 32-year-old general manager. The D-man Dennis-Manoloff is here. More Sports and Les-Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les-Levine, it's a Thursday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les-Levine into our 24th consecutive year, and soon seen exclusively on cleveland.com. The D-man Dennis-Manoloff is here, WTAM radio. You've been a busy guy on WTAM.
Yeah, a little bit, although WTAM's had to close the last couple of days, so Wednesday and Thursday, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm just thinking, Les, about how much the world has changed since I saw you last, which was the previous Monday.
Right.
Because Wednesday, our normal day, was my 4 quarterfinals at the Q with the women for
MAC. It's not the Q anymore.
I'm sorry, I keep calling it the Q. What is it? Rocket Mortgage
Fieldhouse.
Remfa, the Romo or whatever. The Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, where we saw Alex, as a trusty cameraman for Classic Teleproduction, get drilled by a basketball on the way out of bounds. But you think about that day, you know, at Rocket Mortgage, that 4 quarterfinal day for the women, right. And that was the last really full day that I don't think anything was full the next day.
Of sporting events?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sports was pretty much interrupted on Wednesday.
Right.
But Tuesday was a full day at the MAC tournament women. The men never got going.
Right.
But it's just kind of weird to think from that Monday till now, which is what, a 10-day span, I believe, how much our world has changed. It's mind-boggling.
It's unbelievable. Obviously, we're carrying on in the sports page here, but only because that's what we do. We're not trying to minimize anything else that's going on there, but trying to divert the attention of all that. That's why we're here. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at reallesslevine@gmail.com. D-Man, also from a football standpoint, the world has changed a little bit, too, with the Cleveland Browns. I mean, Andrew Berry's gone nuts.
Yeah.
In a good way. Well,
here's the thing, Les. What I want to say, too, by the way, is the NFL doesn't seem to be all that concerned about the coronavirus. Of course they are. But they're the one sport that is able to do business almost as usual.
Well, and the timing of it allowed them that area of the calendar to do that.
Yeah. It just so happens they are in a time of their calendar where it's not only the offseason, but a lot of the stuff can be done via phone, via Skype, via, right. You don't have to have in-person interviews. So they've gone along. But I was looking this up before we went on the air. I wanted to, I lost it here, but I'll find it in the next break. It's a cautionary tale about free agency, okay? Because the graphic that I had taken a picture of from, I think, a month ago was from ESPN, where it talked about the top 5 or 6 guaranteed contracts that went to free agents in 2019, and none of those guys made the playoffs in 2019, later that year in that season. So, number one, free agency is not a panacea. It doesn't automatically save you. It should never be relied upon as the catapult to making you great. It can be a nice finisher, a nice topper if you're close, but it shouldn't be the bulk of your thinking. And number two, every team thinks, almost every team.
Yeah, they've never made a bad move.
That they improved in free agency. even or not just free agency, but the trades that have gone on in the run-up to free agency. Maybe other than the Houston Texans and a couple other teams, they're all like, oh, look what we did to improve our team. Look what we did to improve our team. So, yes, the Browns can feel good about it, but you have to temper your enthusiasm when it comes to free agency.
They got some guys who've had Pro Bowl experience, or made the Pro Bowl team, but they didn't get anybody that's going to make the Hall of Fame team in Canton. But it looks like they certainly have addressed the needs, whether those players are that player better than that player or so on. We don't know, and we're not going to know. My question is this: they're throwing millions all over the place. The Browns spent $104 million 2 days ago. What happens if the season's canceled? Are they obliged to pay?
Yeah, that's a fascinating question throughout professional sports. Who gets paid, when, how much?
I don't feel sorry for any of them.
Yeah, I don't know. When a free agent signs an offer sheet or signs an actual sheet and it says X amount is guaranteed, does that money automatically go into his bank?
Don't know.
I don't know, but I'll say this too, Les. Signing free agents is great if you feel like they're going to help you, but in the case of the Browns, they also have to replace some people, all right?
Correct.
Namely Joe-Schobert. Schobert has his critics about his tackling or whatever. He's not big enough to be a classic middle linebacker. He's not a run stopper. But he's a pretty good player. Now, would I have paid the $11 million a year that he got from Jacksonville? No. But you're still going to have to replace him if you're the Cleveland Browns. You're going to have to replace Kirksey and some other guys. So it's not just adding. You have to also replace the subtractions.
All right. They did replace one of the linebackers, we think. But let's take a look at karl-joseph, a safety. What are the Browns getting in him? 49 tackles, 3 passes defended, 1 interception in 9 games last season. He did miss 7 games because of a foot injury. 4 interceptions in 49 career games. And to your point, you look at these stats that I've got here, everyone looks like an all-pro.
Sure. Every team will be able to rationalize their moves or their non-moves. But yeah, I don't know if karl-joseph is going to have a great season for the Cleveland Browns.
No, but you knew that position was needed.
Oh, yeah. There's no question you needed help at safety. You needed help at linebacker, more so now than you did before with the exits of Schobert and Kirksey. And you, of course, needed help on the offensive line, so Conklin sounds good to me.
Right.
And
then you can fill the left side in the draft.
Yeah, it certainly feels like that's the direction the Browns are going to go in the draft.
bj-Goodson, a linebacker, comes from the Packers, 26 years old, 4 NFL seasons, 37 tackles last year, 2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles in 52 career games. And again, that goes to your point. You got to fill that linebacker need, and this might be one of the guys.
Yeah, and I'll say this too, Les. I didn't know. I was wondering whether the new regime was going to dive into free agency head first. You know what I mean? Because
they did.
It's analytics. You wonder, is analytics as sold on free agency as maybe analytics would be on the draft? But yeah, they certainly spent some money, this group.
Andrew Billings comes from the Cincinnati Bengals, where he's played 3 seasons, 80 tackles in 47 career games, 3.5 sacks and 14
tackles for loss.
Yeah, tackles for loss in 47 career games. Looks like a guy that could shore up that defensive line.
Yeah,
we'll see.
You're right. That's truly it. Show me, but don't tell me. But I'm sure there are numbers crunchers and analytics-based analysts who could make a case for every one of these guys. But there's also, I'm sure, critics of each one of these guys too.
Yeah, when you just see it from this side, it all looks great, and then you take the national view and they say B, B minus, B plus.
Les, I will say this. A team that has a hole at a very important position right now is the New England Patriots at quarterback.
Yeah,
as Thomas
Are
Brady
you rooting for or against
on.
either one of them, or for and against both of them?
Honestly, that's a great question, Les. I'm rooting for Brady with the Buccaneers because I love Bruce Arians, and I want to see Brady do well away from Belichick. But I'm not an equal part guy there because I don't want to see Belichick succeed. I want to see the Patriots suffer for a little while after their dominance for basically almost all of 20
you would
years.
Think, trying to replace Brady and Belichick getting up there in years, you don't know how many more years he'd want to do that. New England could go back into the middle or lower part of the pack.
Well, yes and no. The problem for those of us who want to see the Patriots sans Brady fall is, number one, their defense is pretty good. Yeah. Okay, even though it tailed off right at the end of the season, they're still a good D. And number two, it's conceivable that Belichick could get a veteran in here, I don't know, like Andy Dalton maybe, who could function decently well in that system. Yeah, and all of a sudden, they're not starting from scratch.
Somebody asked me last week who it would be if Brady left. That's exactly who I said, Andy Dalton, because Joe Burrow obviously going to the Bengals. Kevin Seifert is an ESPN writer, and he said basically what we said here. The Browns are ubiquitous members of the every off-season winners list. Over the years, it makes them winners during the season as well. Over the years, eventually, it'll make winners of them in the regular season. So the key improvements, as we work out, which we'll get to the next segment, we're going to find out if the Browns are better today than they were a week ago. Your first thought on that without going deep into it?
I have to believe they're better. But again, we keep saying it because and I'm sure maybe in July or August I'll be like, yes, the Browns are going to be awesome because of Conklin and because of Joseph and all these guys. But right now, I'm in the show me, don't tell me mode more so than I am crown them for the offseason.
And a lot of that is because of the experience we've had following them the last couple of years. When they look good, they don't look good.
And also, let's look at these teams that feel like they've improved. I mean, you can look, of course, in the NFC, but AFC teams that feel like they're much better. I mean, the Colts with Phil Rivers and the Raiders are stockpiling. And almost everywhere you look in the AFC, teams are getting better. So you can't just view the Browns in a vacuum. You have to say, all right, how are they vis-a-vis the rest of the teams in the league?
Did you know the Ohio Lottery has paid out over $1 billion in winnings over the last 6 months? People are winning in record numbers, and winning is happening all around the state of Ohio. Play an Ohio Lottery game and play it today. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine with new content posted each and every day. The Browns appear to be making the right moves, at least on paper. Are we caught in that trap again? More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a four-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Birthdays for today. Let's check them out and see who is celebrating a birthday. Bill Wambsgans. Bill Wambsgans.
Oh, yeah.
About 186.
Unassisted triple play.
Something like
Series.
that. That's one of those that won't get beat. There's Wamby on top. Born in 1894. Richie Ashburn, Hall of Famer from the Phillies. Mike Drop. Comedians have that happen to them. Andre Miller. Hito Turkoglu, and Clayton Kershaw, all born on today, the 19th of March. 216-575-0403. So
Speaking
the Browns
of Wamby,
are,
the 100th anniversary of that 1920 team is this year, for what it's worth.
It's worth a lot. Indians, hopefully they'll have the chance to celebrate that first championship. Back in those days, they played 9. The World Series was 9 games.
Yeah, it was best of 9.
Yeah. The Browns aren't done today. Andrew Berry not done. Picked up a cornerback today. Kevin Johnson. Kevin Johnson, not the former mayor of San Antonio or Sacramento, played with the Cavaliers. This is a different Kevin Johnson, cornerback. 6 foot, 185, 27 years old, played with the Bills, 5 NFL seasons, Texans and the Bills. 36 tackles, 5 passes defended in 2019. He agreed. And by the way, part of the MO here is to sign 1-year contracts instead of locking guys in, even though they're young.
Yeah. And unless, let me just say this. Let me go to this, what I did find it again on the phone. Most guaranteed money in 2019, the top 6. Trey Flowers, the Lions, C.J. Mosley, the Jets, Nick Foles, the Jaguars, Nick Foles, who's now moved on. Landon Collins, Redskins, Trent Brown, Raiders, Le'Veon Bell, Jets. All 6 guys did not appear in the postseason.
But they took the big money.
You can't hold one player responsible for a team not making the playoffs.
Right.
But the point is, you can't automatically think that because you outlay a lot of money to one or more players in free agency that you're going to leapfrog a bunch of teams.
All right, here's why we get snookered on sometimes when trades are made or signings are made. We take a look at who the Browns signed and who they'll replace, and does that make them better? So you got Jack-Conklin. Ostensibly, you're taking him over Chris Hubbard, who still may be with the team, and Greg Robinson. So you got to say, well, there's a win, right?
That's got to be a win, yes.
I mean, I can't conceive of any reason or any situation where that is not a win, unless there's an injury. All right, Case-Keenum, the backup quarterback, over Drew Stanton and Garrett Gilbert. That's a win, right?
There's no doubt in my mind. I mean, Keenum put together a heck of a season a couple of years ago for the Vikings.
Right.
I think it was the Vikings,
yes,
right?
Yes, it was.
With Stefanski there. So,
yep.
Yes, absolutely an upgrade.
Austin Hooper over David Njoku, who may be back, and Demetrius Harris, who probably won't be.
Yeah, I would say it's Hooper over Harris or Hooper over whatever they were trying to run out there at tight end. That's a definite upgrade because Hooper is one of the best tight ends in the league.
All right, that's 3 out of 3 for an upgrade. And can we automatically make it 4 of 4 here with Kevin Stefanski over Freddie Kitchens?
It would be hard not to be an upgrade over Kitchens. Let's put it this way. If he's not, we're in for a disastrous, another disastrous term for a coach in Cleveland.
All right, so let's take a look at the update here on the roster. We'll take a look first at the linebackers, who still are a pretty scary bunch. Mack Wilson, who did a nice job. Taki, the jury's out on him. And bj-Goodson, who they just got in the last couple of days. There you have some other names of guys you never heard of. Tay Davis, Jermaine Grace, Willie Harvey, and Montrell Meander.
I wonder about Taki, Les. I wonder if the new regime is saying, you know what, we're gonna give him a legitimate shot.
As opposed to just saying, that's their guy, get him out of here?
Correct.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd be that bullheaded to say, just because it's not our guy, we're not gonna stick with him.
No. Although it looks like that with the linebackers, Kirksey and Schobert.
Right, but in the Schobert case, I truly do believe it came down to dollars and cents. The Browns had a line that they weren't going to cross with Schobert in terms of his value.
Correct.
They said, I'm sure they liked him, but they didn't like him to the extent that the Jacksonville Jaguars did. And by the way, what have we learned? We relearn every offseason in every sport. When it comes to free agency, all it takes is one. You don't need 2, you don't need 3, you don't need 5 teams to like you. You just need one. And Jacksonville was that team for Schobert.
Yeah, the last one standing money-wise. All right, the Browns' defense secondary, let's take a look at it. Cornerback Denzel Ward, Greedy Williams, the other cornerback, Sheldrick Redwine, and Karl-Joseph, the new safety that just got sent here, or is going to be here. Depth-wise, J.T. Hassel, who thought he was going to be a starter, Tavier Thomas, Donnie Lewis Jr., and Robert Jackson. Robert
Kevin
L. Jackson,
Johnson,
Robert E. Jackson.
Yeah,
different
Robert
era.
L., Robert E. I can't even imagine how hard it is to play professional sports, specifically in the NFL. I mean, think about how difficult it is to make an NFL team, let alone be a regular, let alone be a star.
Yeah.
And by the way, since we were together last, the CBA passes by the smallest, seemingly smallest of margins. I mean, it wasn't 1, but it was, what, 60?
Yeah, but I think 500 players didn't vote.
Yeah, it's inexcusable to me how you could abstain from something like that when you're talking about a 10-year deal. But it does wind up passing as I thought it would, because I thought the worker bees would outnumber the stars. It's just the way it is in sports. You have more of the underlings than you do the elite players who were saying no to the 17 games. That the underlings say, look, I might not be around all that long. I want to get as much money as I can.
Northeast Factory Direct wants you to know that just because it's less money doesn't mean it's cheap stuff. It's high-quality furniture, and they've got name-brand furniture at 50, 60, 70% off of what you're going to pay somewhere else. Flex Steel, England, Klausner, and more. Alex does a great job. Started out in the basement, in his garage, with one piece of furniture. Found out that if you can keep your expenses down, you can save a lot of money for your customers, and that's been a way this business has been working for the last 20 years. You also have Amish furniture made right here in Ohio. You don't get any higher quality than that. And furniture for any budget, whether you're buying starter furniture for your first apartment or finishing a mansion. Northeast Factory Direct has high-quality top hot tubs, as well as pool tables and game room sets, and so much more. East, west, and south, it's Northeast Factory Direct. We'll come back in a moment, and one ESPN analyst thinks that Odell Beckham is going to be traded. What say you? More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Celebrate NatureStone's 30-year anniversary with a free NatureStone floor. During 2020, we will be giving away 30 free floors to 30 very lucky customers to say thank you for making NatureStone the best concrete flooring solution for garages, basements, and more. Call or visit naturestone.com today to register to win, and we'll send you a copy of our new buyer's guide absolutely free. There's no purchase necessary. Winners will be chosen monthly. With over 30 million square feet installed for more than 60,000 customers, it's easy to see why I always say it's not just a floor. Wow, it's NatureStone.
Got your Ohio Lottery pick 3, I see.
Yup. Those glasses are hip.
Hip? Most people think I'm a square. But what's wrong with that? A box bet can increase your chances of winning. And what is a box? A square. There are so many ways to play. There's coming out the wazoo. Oh, shucks. Look at me yammering on. Put a lid in it, Picky Ricky. Play the Ohio Lottery Pick 3 today.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Time for a How Come Quickie. D-Man, how come you can lead a horse to water, but a pencil must be lead?
Nice. That's tremendous.
Not as good as the other. This is.
I like that How Come Quickie a lot.
We've had a theme of pencils this week. We had early in the week. We had how come if a number 2 pencil is the best on the market, how come it's still number 2?
That's very good.
Should be number 1.
Yeah. Well, has anyone ever written with a number 1 pencil?
I've never seen one.
I've seen a number 3, but never a number 1.
What's the difference between a 2 and a 3? No
I don't
idea.
know.
ESPN analyst Bart Scott says that Odell Beckham will be traded. You know, Cleveland is such a low-hanging fruit. Guys can come in. Let's go to the Beckham card today. Let's go
That's
somewhere
a real difficult take to make there, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's going out on a limb there, Bardicus.
Just know that you heard it here.
Oh, okay.
You heard it here, yeah.
You got it, Bart.
Yeah, we haven't been talking about it at all. I'm telling you right now, Odell Beckham is on the trading block, and it's real right now.
Again, I like Bart Scott as an analyst, but he's not breaking any ground, certainly not in Cleveland. It's understandable if Beckham were on the block. Will he fetch what the Browns want for him, if in fact that's true?
Well,
I don't know.
They have to listen. If somebody comes calling, you have to listen.
Of course you do. Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at 2019, see what happened here. Odell Beckham with his production, and we'll take a look at see if there's any wide receivers available in the draft. And Beckham with 74 catches, 1,035 yards, 4 touchdowns, 65 yards per game, and he's owed $14 million on 2020 and $2.75 in the dead cap space if traded. A couple of guys the Browns might be looking at whether they get rid of Beckham or not. Brandon Ayuk, from wide receiver from Arizona State, 65 catches, almost 100 yards a game. And Denzel Mims, a wide receiver out of Baylor. Baylor's wide receiver stats are totally meaningless.
Yeah, that's true. It's such a wide open attack, but so many teams are going to that now, though. You can't just say it's just Baylor or just Oklahoma anymore.
All right. So do you want to see Beckham here this year or not?
Honestly, I would like to see the Browns move on from Beckham because I don't think that you're going to be able to satisfy Beckham and Landry together for another year. And I prefer Landry. If I have to keep one, I want to keep Landry. I don't want to keep them both as some duo that is inseparable because they're buddies, and you have to if you've got one, you got to have the other. I don't buy that. On a winning team, receivers can't be dictating the policies.
That's exactly.
I'm sorry, and I'm not saying that Beckham's been a bad guy or anything like that.
No, but stuff follows him.
It does, and here's the thing. We will know how the conversation went between Beckham and Stefanski if, in fact, Beckham is traded. Because if he is traded, you got to believe that when they had their sit-down soon after Stefanski arrived, and Stefanski says, I need you as a 12-month Brown, and Beckham might have said, I just can't do that. I can't guarantee you that I'm going to be all in on everything you want to do, even off-season
we're going to
stuff.
look around and see what we can get.
And at that point, maybe Stefanski says, "All right, well, we got to start looking around." But we're not there yet. Despite what Bart Scott says, nothing is imminent. Now Bart would say all he did was say he was on the block. He didn't guarantee that he would be traded.
Does it also make you think that with Stefanski and signing a fullback yesterday, that you might see the running game being more important than the passing game?
Well, sure, especially when play action is so important to Stefanski as it was with Kirk Cousins. And you also have to do a numbers crunch. And you have to say, well, how many guys can be satisfied?
It's only one ball.
I mean, there's only one ball because if you still have Kareem Hunt, you got to satisfy Hunt, you got to satisfy Chubb, Beckham, Landry, Hooper, Njoku perhaps, a third receiver, and I just don't know if you're going to be able to satisfy these guys.
And you're changing Baker Mayfield's way to look at the game, and what the game plan is going to be. The game plan is going to be totally different than it was last year. The playbook.
That's true.
And
I forgot.
Go ahead.
You got to satisfy Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, you forgot
because
that.
he's looking to put up some numbers in his third year.
It's a big year for him.
Because he's thinking my career might be on the line if I don't.
Absolutely. You can explore your interests and find a program that puts you on the right path to a bright future from Tri-C. Right now, Tri-C offers more than 1,000 courses in over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tri-edu for more information about Tri-C. We'll come back in a moment, and when we do, we'll get some more NFL news. We'll talk a little about Tom Brady, not much. We'll talk about what's on your mind. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a four-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
Let's take a look at this date in sports history. 1995, March 19th, Michael Jordan returns to the NBA after a year and a half trying to play baseball. He scored 19 points in that game. His manager at Birmingham, Terry Francona.
Yes.
Oh, I
yes,
bet he has. I bet you he has got
Birmingham
some stories.
Barons.
When Michael bought the bus.
Yeah.
All right, you got some NFL news?
Yeah, Colt McCoy, our old buddy Colt McCoy, has agreed to terms with the New York Giants. Source told Mike Garafolo. He stays in the NFC East. He was, of course.
Will he start?
No, I think Daniel Jones is their
nice
guy,
job.
but McCoy gets to be in the same coaching or in the coaching orbit of one Frederick Kitchens, who's an assistant under Mr. Judge.
See how that goes. All right, I got a guy that the Browns could take that might be one of the most popular choices. If they made this move, they would have the PR battle won immediately. You know who I'm talking about? It got released today. Any idea? Clay Matthews.
Clay.
Would that be a move to make?
That would be exciting for sure, but the question is, how much does he have left in the tank?
Probably not nearly as much as he had a couple of years ago, but what a popular move that would be.
Except for the fact that he had 8 sacks last year.
The other thing is, if you did sign him or bring him in, you can't cut him. For
That's a great point.
all the reason I said he's popular, you can't cut him.
That's a tremendous point. I mean, I'd kick the tires on it.
I absolutely would be.
See what, if I were Andrew Berry, I'd be like, you know what, Clay, we could skip a lot of these elements of the interview process because you got all these covered. Can you run the 40 still? And how do you feel about playing for us?
I know your name is up there in the Wall of Fame already. Oh, that's your dad.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. Alex Boone, if he's not playing games here, Alex Boone hasn't played in 3 years from St. Edwards.
I can't.
He's claiming that he wants to come back to the NFL.
I don't know.
And would love to come for the Browns.
How hard is that to ramp it back up? I mean, I guess he'd be worth a look.
Well, he played with Stefanski.
Yeah, I don't know how you can commit to anything with him, though. I mean, invite him in for a tryout, but
that would be another
that's a tough one to read.
The Rams also released Todd Gurley today.
Not entirely surprised by that. It's clear that McVay and Gurley didn't see eye to eye. McVay probably thought that Gurley's best days are behind him after the knee stuff. And, you could see that brewing late in the regular season where the Rams eventually went to the Super Bowl, and then he was barely used in the Super Bowl. And, he kept telling McVay, I'm good enough to go, and McVay didn't go to him. So that was the beginning of the end there for Gurley in L.A. Plus, they got so much money committed to guys like, what's his face, the quarterback Goff, and then Aaron Donald, among others.
How about this news? Sean Payton is the first known NFL case of the coronavirus.
Yeah, I mean, It's unfortunate. It's not going to be the first case in the NFL. It won't be the last. I mean, well, it's first. I'm sorry. It won't be the last that we know of. Obviously the NBA's been hit. Kevin Durant, Gobert, Donovan Mitchell. It's going to come sooner than later. Most likely, it'll become I hate to say it, a who's who. Yeah, I mean, you're going to know the names on the list. Yeah. It's not going to be scarce anymore, unfortunately.
All right. So that. Anyway, should we call the Browns right now in Berea? Oh, they're at their homes. They're working out of their house.
Yeah.
Go sign Clay Matthews just for fun.
Again, a lot of work for the NFL can be done at home at this time of their calendar.
Correct.
Meanwhile, other sports are wrecked. They're basically wrecked. But the NFL can survive this because
part of it is timing. How much is left on the calendar?
Oh,
Baseball
of course.
hasn't started yet. NBA. Heading toward the playoffs. I just can't imagine they can come up with a way to make that happen based on the horrible things we're hearing.
The stuff I read before this show lead me to believe that this entire sports calendar year is going to be wrecked. I hope I'm wrong, and that could even swoop up football in 2020, God forbid. But here's the thing, though. I want to say this about the NFL. Took some criticism, has taken some criticism within its own ranks, let alone outsiders. Oh, they're tone deaf. They're oblivious to the coronavirus. I thought that initially, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, what are we supposed to do at home? Just sit there and wallow in our miseries? I mean, if a franchise a sport can actually conduct business without putting people in harm's way with social distancing, physical distancing, I don't have a problem with it.
We had Doug Lesmerises on the show last night, and I threw out a question near the end of the show. I said, realistically, if they can get whatever they have to get with the virus, if they can take care of it here in the next couple of months, what's, from a baseball standpoint or a sports standpoint, what's the least amount of games you could get away with playing? So I'll ask you that first, and then I'll give you his response.
I mean, MLB, I could see a 100-game season, no fewer than that. I don't think you can go from 162 to sub 100. Admittedly, I'm picking a number that's nice and shiny, 100.
But Doug basically did that, and then he thought about it a little more. He says, you know what, though, as a nation of sports fanatics that we are, we may need something just to have, and if it's an 80-game season or a 60-game season, just to put a baseball team on television is something that might help the morale of the country. And I agree with that.
Right. I mean, there's something to be said about trying to strike some chord of normalcy. And I know the critics have said, well, it looks bad when NFL players are signing guaranteed money while people are suffering. Yeah, it does. But you know what? It looks bad when NFL players are signing guaranteed contracts in a booming economy even, because plenty of people are left behind in a booming economy when there is no coronavirus or there is no major war or anything like that. So it's going to look bad to certain pockets of society no matter what.
We've been talking about Northeast Factory Direct for a long time now, and we'd like you to, when you go in, mention More Sports and Les-Levine, if you don't mind. Alex has done a phenomenal job. He started this business 20 years ago, saving people a lot of money on this one. It started with a dining room set. He's been helping people save a ton of money ever since. Now, in case there's any question about that, he's offering a one-year best price guarantee. And we've been saying the Northeast prices can't be beat. Now it's guaranteed. If you buy furniture or hot tubs from Northeast and within a year you find it advertised for something less than that, Alex is going to refund the difference and no questions asked. Shop online at northeastfactorydirect.com or the other great locations, east, west, and south. We're talking about West 140th Street, Lakeland Boulevard, or Freeway Drive. It's Northeast Factory Direct. Sokolowski's University Inn, like everybody else, they're getting hurt by this terrible situation here, but they're trying to make the best, and they're just great people who understand what people need. So they've opened it up for orders to go from 1 o'clock until 7 o'clock. That'll be on Saturday, but all day starting at noon, starting tomorrow, going noon until later in the day. You can order yours to go. You can call them, go to the website, or you can just stop in and take it out. at Sokolowski's University Inn. We'll come back in a moment. We'll check out our Facebook question of the day and the responses that we got. Dennis-Manoloff here. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Get Nature Stone and never replace your garage flooring again. Your concrete is cracked, uneven, and not safe. Paints and poly coatings don't last, are slippery, and give worthless warranties. Nature Stone permanently corrects cracked, uneven concrete, eliminates slipping hazards, and is easy to clean. And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, there are no hidden maintenance costs. Act now and save up to 50% with our volume discount pricing. Must be installed by the end of March. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Let's take a look at this date in Les-Levine history, March 19th, 1958. Les takes a year and a half off to play baseball like Michael Jordan did. He thought if you hit a Little League home run 25 feet over the fence, it should count for 3 runs. Like a 3-point shot.
Nice.
I could have been somebody inventing that rule. We have a Facebook question of the day. We've got some answers to them also. ESPN, as we said, was reporting that, Bart Scott was reporting that OBJ is on the trading block. Would you trade him? Let's take a look at some of your responses. First, we go to Gerard Morelli. And Gerard says, no, who do you replace him with? Perry Marker says, no, we need to see if our new coach can integrate OBJ into the offense. We gave up on Schobert, keep OBJ. Kevin Malone says, Henry Ruggs, he will be the offensive rookie of the year, whoever gets him. Minnesota has 2 first-rounders and just traded their best receiver. Maybe we could trade him there. We could take the top receiver at 10, then get a lineman like Jones later in the first round after Odell is traded. They could also save some millions. Jeff Habit Sr. says, in a heartbeat, can always draft one, tired of his antics. Glenn Berger says, these rumors about OBJ circulate about every month. It'll be hard to trade him in his huge contract. Stefanski likes to feature the tight end, and the Browns just signed one. Beckham brings too much baggage, and if they can get equal value for him, trade him and stop the circus show in Berea going on right now.
You know what, Les? One of the things that might keep him here is the uncertainty surrounding Jarvis Landry coming off of the hip injury.
Because the Browns couldn't afford to lose both.
Now, granted, Beckham's had the core surgery, but I think the hip surgery leads to more questions about when and how much viability versus the core. So do the Browns want to, would they want to move Beckham knowing that Landry's a question mark?
Right. Well, as you know, we have the voicemail of Truth and Reason. Our all-star Truth and Reasoner, Ron Byer, checked in today. Let's hear what Ron had to say.
Les, this is Ron Byer. Hey, Les, as Browns fans, we know great off-season pickups don't necessarily mean a great season ahead. But I'm very pleased with this off-season pick so far by the Browns. I believe with Stefanski as our leader, and he goes out and picks his type of player to fit his offense, it should hopefully mean positive results. I'm real excited with the fullback pickup. I'm excited that position is coming back as a positive to the pros. a position I played, so he's already my favorite player on the team. So I hope the off-season pickups and great drafting equal to finally a great regular season if we play.
I almost got sucked in again. I was going to address Ron on the voicemail of Truth and Reason. I mean,
it's on tape.
You can excuse optimism. Why the heck not in terms of the NFL? I mean, we know that the real world is much more difficult.
I think after this last year with Freddie Kitchens and Dorsey and the way that ended, I think most of us said, I'm not going to get sucked in by that this year. And here we are. We're back at it.
Well, and we're not even in the summer yet.
Yeah.
I mean, if in fact the NFL can start up in September, I'll have my usual summer optimism with the Browns, regardless of what I said about show me, don't tell me.
Ron always sends in great stuff on the voicemail of Truth and Reason. You can do the same. We have a special number for that. We, of course, are seen live from 6 until 7 p.m., Monday through Friday. And the voice of truth and voicemail of Truth and Reason goes the other 23 hours. You can archive it, you can find it, and you can call 216-200-6650 for leaving us a voicemail, and we'll use it on a future show. The D-Man, Dennis-manoloff, is here. We got one more segment to go. We'll do that. We've got some quickies, and we'll just chat. If you'd like to join in the conversation, the line's open. 216-575-0403. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Get Nature's Stone and never replace your garage flooring again. Your concrete is cracked, uneven, and not safe. Paints and poly coatings don't last, are slippery, and give worthless warranties. Nature's Stone permanently corrects cracked, uneven concrete, eliminates slipping hazards, and is easy to clean. And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, there are no hidden maintenance costs. Act now and save up to 50% with our volume discount pricing. Must be installed by the end of March. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature's Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine with new content posted each and every day, and you see what we do with them. We ask the question, you answer them, and you get your name put on the screen. That's a pretty good trade. Speaking of trades and signings, you got one more. Brown's busy today.
It's indeed fast and furious. Ian Rappaport, the official Twitter account, retweeted by the great Mary Kay Cabot. Rappaport, the Browns are signing wide receiver and returner JoJo Natson to a one-year, $1 million deal. Source said he spent the last 2 years with the Rams. So for what that's worth.
There you have it, another move made. By the way,
another one-year deal.
In the last segment, I mentioned that we're on Monday through Friday. The Friday show, of course, is Dave Bacon's Weekend Winners, so hopefully you'll tune in on that from 6 until 7 on Fridays. I want to go to Orrin in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'll do that in a minute. This is from Wes, who tells me that the difference between number 2 and number 3 pencils is the higher the number, the harder the core, and lighter the markings. So in case we have a quiz on that.
So mechanical pencils probably have number 1.
Yeah, lead. Or number 6. You never know.
That's true.
This is from Tom. Hi, Les and D-Man. So far, I'm happy with the free agent signings ahead of need were addressed. Still open to trading OBJ. This is a run-heavy offense with the fullback and 2 tight ends set. Won't be happy with less targets. He won't be happy with less targets. Let's go to North Carolina. Orrin standing by. Hello, Orrin.
Hey, y'all doing this afternoon?
Doing great.
All right. Hey, how you doing?
That may not be true.
I see that with the moves that have been made, it's the first time that I've been watching the Browns since I was born in Cleveland in 1970, and I moved down here about 15 years ago. But this is the first time I see a little bit of vision. You know what I'm saying? And it's like we've never seen that before, where you actually see a plan that's actually in motion, that's sensible. You know, and I live down here with a bunch of Carolina hater fans, but I stick to my Browns. But I seen today, I love y'all's show, but I want to ask you this. What would you think about Clay Matthews Jr.? He was cut today coming to the Browns.
Yeah, 5 minutes ago I said they should do that for PR reason, if nothing else. Then I got an email from Andrew Getz who says the Rams just released Clay Matthews. The Browns should sign him and help with the losses at linebacker. And now you.
Yeah.
I would do it. I mean, he's got to have something left in the tank.
Right.
He had, what did we say, 6 or 8 sacks last year?
8 sacks.
Yeah. I mean, how do you let that go?
That's not bad.
His dad's name and number. His dad's name and number is up on the wall of fame.
Yeah, it's just like Larry Nance Jr. It's scripted. It's
Oren, what we're saying, I know you agree, is that you know, if Matthews couldn't play, if he had nothing on his resume last year, then you don't sign him. But
he's better than Chad Thomas. You can get rid of Chad Thomas.
The guy's he was a playmaker last year. So
he was a baller. And I seen that. I just jumped up. I said, I have to call this Levine show today. So that's what I just had to ask y'all.
All right,
well, Oren, we miss you up here in Cleveland, big man.
I do, too. I miss all my family. I miss y'all. I still love it. That's my home.
Safe.
I tell these people, they be like, you at home now? I said, my home is not here. My home's in Cleveland.
All right, listen. You stay safe out there, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. Have a good one.
I mean, Oren makes a point. I mean, why not, if the medicals check out, and by the way, he was cut from where, Les?
The Rams.
And the Rams just got done cutting Gurley? I don't know what the cap hit would have been for Matthews or how much they had to lose, but maybe it's just a purging in the Rams case. It's not like Matthews can't play anymore.
Right.
It's just we don't want to pay him whatever we were supposed to pay him.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at his financials or what he was due or whatnot, but perhaps that's what it is. If that's the case, then obviously you don't hesitate if you're the Browns.
All right, we got a quickie from Big Ed. Ready?
Yes, sir.
How come when I came upon an ad for $5 hair pieces, I said, well, that's a small price to pay?
Excellent. That's a 9 right out of the gate. I'm being very generous as it is today.
Yeah, I remember one time listening to traffic reports on radio years ago. There was an accident on 77 involving a truck that was carrying hair pieces to hair supply stores. Police were combing the area.
Excellent.
Thank you. Come on.
I'm just trying to have a few laughs in this very difficult time.
It's brutal, no question about it. I
can't read it? Slide it over.
It's like Bud Shaw would say, first of all, they're called quickies, sir, and this is way too complicated. Mr. Gullible has one. How come I used to be addicted to lunch meat, but I quit cold turkey?
I've heard that one before.
Listen, I don't know if you heard this one. Look,
I can't do it.
I can't do it either. No. Here's a great one. How come when I saw the sign Disneyland left, I cried and turned around and went home?
8.
Then we go to John Patrick. How come 10 years ago I asked a girl out on a date? Today I asked her to marry me, and she said no both times. This is ridiculous. John has been writing and complaining about his wife for the last I don't know how long. I'm assuming it's a good marriage.
Les, you had said, in non sequitur as we pivot back to sports, you had said you didn't want to spend much time on Brady, but I do want to ask you this.
Yeah.
Were you surprised at all that he did move on from the Patriots?
No, I think that they both had the same problem. At this point, they wanted to separate themselves and see how it finishes, if Belichick finishes on top or Brady does. I
would agree to a point. I think Belichick wanted to separate from Brady long before Brady wanted to. Brady wanted to finish his career with the Patriots, and he kept telling him, hey, extend me. Whereas Belichick's like, what do we think Belichick wanted as a successor to Brady? Garoppolo.
Yeah,
but he ran out of time. He couldn't keep him stashed any longer.
Right, and this time I thought had he gone to if Brady went to San Francisco, Belichick could have gotten Garoppolo back.
That would have been really bizarre because I think the Niners wouldn't have wanted to give up on a guy like Garoppolo at that age.
We learned something 25 years ago that somebody should have looked at in New England. If Bill Belichick did what he did to Bernie Kosar, the popular guy that he was, he had no qualms about whacking Brady.
Les, you make such a good point. Without saying it this time, Bill Belichick essentially said the same thing about Brady.
He's
got diminishing skills. I'm not really willing to ride him till he's 45, which is his wish.
Until Bill is 70 or whatever that number is.
I truly believe Belichick wanted to move on a couple of years ago with Garoppolo. Brady wouldn't leave. Kraft had said Brady's like a son to me.
Right.
So Belichick, eventually they ran out of time with Garoppolo. They couldn't stash him any longer. So they had to move him. He wasn't going to trade him to an AFC team, certainly not the Browns. So he makes the move with the Niners. But eventually it gets to a point where Brady says, hey, you guys may not want me to play till I'm 45, but I want to play till I'm 45.
And like you said before, somebody's going to say, yeah, that's the guy I want.
I think Brady had a bunch of suitors. And by the way, I don't think that the Tampa Bay thing happened a spur of the moment. I think it happened a while ago because here's the thing. Once the Colts, I'm going to guess the Colts were in on Brady, right?
Yes.
But once they knew that Brady wasn't going to the Colts, they went and got Rivers. Because Rivers was announced first. Rivers was announced before that. Well, I think it happened because the Colts realized they couldn't get Brady, and that Brady was on his way to Tampa Bay.
Excellent point. All right, when are you next on WTAM?
I mean, I'm scheduled to go tomorrow night for 4. We'll see, and then Sunday in the afternoon for 3. It's up to the status of the building, which, by the way, houses more than just WTAM personnel. So we're not sure yet. It's a wait-and-see mode, and our program director, Ray Davis, has done a really good job of keeping us up to speed, but even he doesn't know some of the answers to the questions.
We're in uncharted territory everywhere.
It's astonishing. And I want to go back really quickly to the other thing you were mentioning about Sokolowski's. My wife and I have done a couple of carryouts, and we've had to be judicious about our money, of course, but the carryout has been good, and, we have to remember that these restaurants are not closed, at least for now.
Right.
They're not closed. They are capable of carryout, and to do that is going to help these restaurants in this incredibly difficult time.
No question about it. Please support them if you can. We would appreciate that very much. All right, that'll do it for us. Thanks to the D-Man, Dennis Manoloff. You'll be back next Wednesday. Is that correct?
That's the plan.
That's the
God
plan.
willing. I mean, truly.
I'll see you on Monday. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.